In March 1942, under a moonless sky along the French coast, an old British destroyer raced straight toward a heavily defended Nazi port. Its course made no sense. Its speed was reckless, and its destination was a concrete dock the Germans believed was untouchable. What followed would become one of the most daring raids of World War II, and one of the most intelligence-driven missions ever attempted. This was Operation Chariot. After the fall of France, the Atlantic port of Saint-Nazaire became a strategic nightmare for Britain. It housed the Normandy dry dock, the only dock on the Atlantic coast large enough to repair Germany's biggest battleship, the Tirpitz. If that ship ever broke into the Atlantic and took damage, Saint-Nazaire would be its lifeline. As long as the dock existed, Britain's shipping lanes were under threat. The problem was obvious: destroy the dock. The solution was not. Saint-Nazaire was deep inside occupied France. It was protected by coastal guns, searchlights, minefields, radar, and thousands of German troops. A bombing raid would be inaccurate. A conventional naval assault would be suicide. So British planners turned to intelligence, deception, and a plan so audacious it bordered on insanity. British intelligence spent months studying the port. Aerial reconnaissance mapped gun positions. Resistance reports detailed guard routines. Engineers analyzed the dock structure down to its weakest points. Everything pointed to a single conclusion: the dock could only be destroyed from the inside. That meant landing a force directly into the harbor. The plan centered on HMS Campbeltown, an aging American-built destroyer stripped down, lightened, and modified. Her silhouette was altered to resemble a German torpedo boat. Inside her bow, engineers packed over 4 tons of explosives, sealed behind concrete and set on delayed fuses. Campbeltown itself would become the bomb. The assault force was small, just over 600 men. Commandos trained for months in secrecy, rehearsing attacks on mock docks. They knew extraction was unlikely. Many would not come back, they were told anyway. On the night of March 27, 1942, the task force crossed the Channel. German patrols spotted them, but confusion worked in Britain's favor. False signals were sent. Hesitation followed. By the time alarms sounded, it was too late. Campbeltown accelerated. Searchlights snapped on. Guns opened fire, shells tore through the ship. Men were killed on deck as the destroyer plowed forward, engines screaming. At 1:34 a.m., Campbeltown slammed into the dock gates at full speed. The impact alone was catastrophic. The commandos disembarked into chaos. The raid exploded into close-quarters combat. Teams fanned out to destroy pumping stations, machinery, and infrastructure. German defenders responded with overwhelming force. Streets became kill zones. Buildings burned. Ammunition ran low. Extraction boats were sunk one by one. Within hours, it was clear the escape plan had failed. Survivors were hunted through the town. Some fought until they were killed. Others were captured after exhausting their ammunition. Of the 611 men who took part, only a fraction would return to Britain. By any surface measure, the raid looked like a disaster. Then, hours later, Saint-Nazaire shook. At 10:35 a.m., the explosives hidden inside Campbeltown detonated. The dock gates vanished in a massive explosion, killing German officers inspecting the ship and obliterating the structure beyond repair. The Normandy dock was rendered unusable for the rest of the war. The true success of Operation Chariot revealed itself slowly. The Tirpitz never dared to risk the Atlantic without a repair option. German naval strategy shifted. Resources were diverted. Coastal defenses were strengthened everywhere, draining manpower from other fronts. Strategically, the raid paid dividends far beyond its cost, but the human cost was staggering. Nearly half the raiding force was killed or captured. Many prisoners spent the rest of the war in camps. Several received the Victoria Cross, some posthumously. The survivors carried the memory for the rest of their lives. Operation Chariot was not just a commando raid. It was intelligence warfare at its most extreme. Every step relied on accurate reconnaissance, deception, timing, and the willingness to accept catastrophic risk for strategic gain. It proved that sometimes destroying a single target could reshape an entire theater of war. Saint-Nazaire never fully recovered. The dock remained broken. The message to Nazi Germany was unmistakable. Nowhere was safe, not even behind concrete, guns, and occupied territory. And for Britain, Operation Chariot became a grim lesson in modern warfare that victory is not always measured by who comes home, but by what never sails again.